Hi friends, and today I've got a video for you from the guy I follow to tell me all the news going on around the world that you will not hear on legacy media. So sit back and let's get the conspiracy theory flying.
Back with more strange and wild stories, and I want to start things off with this huge metallic ball that fell from the sky. A massive dome that looks like a damn eyeball just dropped from the sky onto a street in Indiana. And the official story? Oh, it's just a radome. It blew away in the wind. Bro, this thing is 10 to 15 feet across, made to survive 100-mile-per-hour winds, and somehow it floated over a mile through a neighborhood like a beach ball during a thunderstorm, and conveniently it's from a defense contractor. V2.
I wonder if that's those orbs, those round objects we were seeing not too long ago in, what is it, Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Remember all that stuff that was going on? We thought it was aliens. Look at that. That is crazy technology.
Wex right down the road. The same kind of company, knee-deep in military radar systems and aerospace surveillance. These radomes aren't just covers. They hide the eyes of the surveillance state, the guts of next-gen radar tech. And this one had a hatch cracked open when it landed. We're told it wasn't in use. Yeah? Then why the hell did it still have its internals? Why is the company perplexed by how it moved? They've got engineers who can calculate ballistic trajectories, but this caught them off guard? No shot. This comes after a full year of weird stuff falling from the sky. Mysterious drones swarming New Jersey, black tar washing up on Florida beaches, and now the sky drops a mechanical eyeball onto someone's block? We're being gaslit while literal surveillance hardware rains from the clouds. This wasn't just a dome, it was a message. And most people will scroll right past it. Now, since we are talking about shady technology, I want to talk about DARPA. I'm sure all of you have your own theories as to how those fires started in Lahaina. However, people in this community understand pretty well just how devastating those directed energy weapons can be, and we also know that even our presidents know about them.
Biggest in the history of California, I think. Has anything bigger than that happened in the whole country ever? It looks like, I don't want to say what it looks like, but you know what I'm going to say. It looks like something hit it. And we won't talk about what hit it, but it is a bad, bad situation.
However, in the last few months, former CBS and Fox News reporter Catherine Herridge has done an excellent job covering how these weapons were used on American citizens. Well, in her latest interview, she talked to a whistleblower who tried to expose the fraud at our State Department.
A top engineer trained to defend against electronic spying at U.S. embassies, Mark Lindsay is now a State Department whistleblower.
What is the cost of coming forward?
The cost for me has been not only financial, but it's been profound in terms of my career.
Later on, he also revealed how he and his family were attacked by some kind of dues and the U.S. government refused to help him.
Who would have the authority to remove references to directed energy exposure?
State Department and CIA.
Why was the intelligence withheld?
It gets to the heart of the U.S. government always trying to minimize any potential directed energy attack.
Lindsay said his son Thomas, who was a toddler at the time of the 2018 incident in China, has the most severe traumatic brain injury. Lindsay claimed the State Department's inaction made it worse.
Did the State Department test your children?
No, they didn't.
Oh, I would be livid. Oh, I'd be so angry. That's why I follow this guy, because you will not hear this stuff anywhere else. And this stuff that's going on in the world right now is crazy. So I like to keep my community kind of in the know. So if you don't follow this kind of stuff, that's why I show it on my channel.
Not in the time that it took for me to give my children the help that they needed on my own. The time that it took for my kids led to their injuries being worse than they should have, according to U.S. military doctors and civilian doctors.
I have an evaluation here for your son.
Wow.
You have shared with us. And it says Thomas has issues with eye movement, headaches, concentration, hand-eye coordination since the traumatic brain injury.
Now, keep in mind these are former security officers, so they don't exactly reveal who was behind those attacks. In most cases, they just say it was a foreign adversary. However, we are also rapidly developing directed energy platforms, and of course, DARPA is running those programs. Well, you'll be glad to hear that DARPA has been working hard to develop these weapons and has so far given us two major types of directed energy weapons. The first directed energy weapon they've been developing is a strong and precise laser. One such weapon is called HELADS, and it's basically a 150 kilowatt laser that could be mounted on tactical aircraft like drones, for instance, and has been in the field testing phase since 2015. The next program is called Warden, and it's been developing high-powered microwaves that could disrupt or straight up fry electrical circuits. In fact, only a few days ago, DARPA apparently smashed the record for wireless power transmission. This test was performed in New Mexico, where they used an ultra-strong laser beam to send 800 watts of power across a distance of 5.3 miles. They even managed to send a 30-second pulse of this energy, which means this was a pretty stable test. Of course, this is also pretty damn scary, because at such a distance you won't even know what hit you, and since this energy transfer is instant, you won't be able to run either. Apparently, they plan on using sunlight from space to create huge amounts of energy and sending it anywhere on Earth through this system. Now, the interesting part is that this energy transmission concept isn't new, and Nikola Tesla tried to make it work all the way back in 1901. However, he soon ran out of funds because his financier, JP Morgan, backed out. The crazy thing is that this new DARPA system will probably be taken over by contractors like Lockheed Martin, and JP Morgan owns shares in those companies as well. Now, moving on, I want to talk about this latest warning from the FBI about our TVs. What if I told you your smart TV is listening to you even when it's turned off? Not a theory, it's buried in the fine print.
I would say that I believe you because I will be talking about something just random, like something I maybe want to get my kid for her birthday or something, and then I will turn on the TV, my Google TV, and I will see ads for that exact same thing that I was just talking about. And if I hadn't talked about it, I don't think it would have appeared as an ad on my TV. It's all really crazy.
Samsung's own privacy policy literally says, and I quote, "If your spoken words include personal or other sensitive information, that information will be among the data captured." In other words, don't say anything private near your television because it's always recording. LG got caught doing the same thing, recording conversations, monitoring what you watch, and sending it back to their servers even when the TV wasn't on. Who gets this data? Third-party analytics firms for user experience or something else? In 2017, the UK even launched an investigation into LG for exactly this kind of behavior. It's a pattern. And just last month, the FBI warned that over 1 million Android devices, including smart TVs, were hijacked by malware. So we've got two problems here. One, your TV is spying on you by design. Two, it's also vulnerable to getting hijacked by people you'll never see. So ask yourself, why would Samsung tell you not to say anything sensitive unless they knew it was going to be abused? This isn't entertainment, it's surveillance dressed up as a flat screen. Now, since we're talking about spying and surveillance, let's discuss TSA. You see, a report has surfaced that claims the TSA has a program that targets and puts conservative supporters on watch lists. This program is called the Enhanced Vetting and Discovery Element, or EVADE, and the Air Marshal National Council has lodged a complaint against it. They claim that EVADE has used federal money to hire contractors who identify Trump supporters through social media, and the TSA then puts these individuals on quiet skies and domestic terrorist watch lists. In fact, according to them, the TSA even put an air marshal's wife on such a list and kept her under surveillance for over 2 years without any evidence. Of course, this means there could be hundreds of thousands of people on such lists, and that's why I think we need to find out ASAP if this claim is true or not. What is true, however, is that our politicians are using war to make millions.
Oil prices have skyrocketed since the conflict in the Middle East started last week. This is because 20% of the world's oil passes through the Persian Gulf. We're talking 20 million barrels per day. And so when this transportation gets disrupted, or there is a threat of it being disrupted, the price goes way up. It's almost as if you could bet on this happening. Oh wait, our US politicians did. That's right. As soon as President Trump gave Iran 60 days to make a deal, our US politicians were buying oil stocks. And this is page 1 of 74. Of course, since then, Chevron is up, ExxonMobil is up, Valero is up, and so is every other oil company.
Now, some of these
Wow.
congressmen are so blatant about their insider trading that they get criticized every single day. For instance, Republican Congressman Bruce Westerman was heavily criticized by Democrats for buying oil stocks in companies that he oversees as chair of the House Natural Resources Committee. And he didn't just stop with oil either. While they kept pushing us towards World War III, they also kept buying stocks of defense manufacturers. In fact, Congressman Westerman has made 2 such trades to buy shares of Raytheon in the last 2 months. Now, let me be clear, this problem of insider trading is bipartisan, and unless we pass legislation to stop it, these greedy politicians are going to keep doing it. Now, let's move on because there's yet
I could have sworn we already had some legislation in process or happening that needed to be voted on to stop this insider trading. That's horrible.
another crazy story I want to share with you. What if I told you the government might actually bring back a deadly chemical that's banned in over 50 countries, and it's called asbestos. Asbestos,
What?
banned in over 50 countries, might actually be coming back. Trump's EPA is reviewing a 2024 ban on chrysotile asbestos, a known carcinogen linked to 12 to 15,000 deaths a year in the U.S. from lung cancer and other diseases, according to the National Cancer Institute. The reversal? It's not based on a new science. No, it follows a 30-month industry challenge led by the American Chemistry Council, arguing the ban hurt business. Asbestos use peaked in the 70s at 800,000 tons a year. Asbestos use peaked in the 70s at 800,000 tons a year. Now it's less than 1,000, but still used in niche sectors like certain chlorine plants. So why revisit a ban on a deadly substance? Is it safety science or economic influence? No spin, no sides, just facts. You decide. Now, this decision to bring back asbestos is certainly going to raise a lot of eyebrows. However, the MAHA movement continues to receive nothing but praise for removing dangerous chemicals from more and more food items. One such food is cereal, and let's hear what General Mills is doing to make it healthier.
Yesterday, we told you about Kraft Heinz all removing artificial dyes in 2 years. We can also confirm that another major food producer is following suit. General Mills is moving forward with a similar measure. The company says it's working to remove certified colors from K-12 school foods by next summer, and then all foods by 2027.
Well, they're not just removing dyes, now they're removing entire flavors as well. A popular cereal brand just pulled 3 fan favorite flavors off the shelves, and the reason why might be darker than someone's admitting. On June 15th, 2025, General Mills quietly discontinued Honey Nut Cheerios Medley Crunch, Chocolate Peanut Butter Cheerios, and Honey Nut Cheerios Mini. No warning, no real explanation, just gone. Fans are
Imagine
upset,
that.
but here's where it gets strange. Some say it's about sales, others blame supply chain issues. But what if it's something deeper? Back in 2023, a study in public health nutrition found that many breakfast cereals, especially the flavored ones, contain sugar levels exceeding 30% of your daily limit. Now match that with growing government pressure to regulate ultra-processed food. Companies are being pushed to change or disappear. And then there's the elephant in the room. Glyphosate, the same herbicide linked to cancer in studies from the International Agency for Research on Cancer. The Environmental Working Group tested Cheerios in 2019 and found glyphosate levels up to 729 parts per billion. Let that sink in. You're feeding that to kids. And now, suddenly, General Mills is pulling flavors without saying why. Sounds less like a business decision and more like damage control. Reformulations, quiet settlements, or maybe those products had levels they didn't want retested. Whatever the truth is, the timing speaks volumes. These weren't just unpopular items, they were favorites. And now they're erased without a word. Only God knows what kind of poison these food manufacturers have been feeding us for years, and don't think it'll be easy to stop them. For instance, RFK Jr. praised Starbucks for not using artificial dyes or high fructose corn syrup. However, how can you justify this?
How many pumps of syrup did they actually put in their matcha latte, venti? And they said 4. I did the quick math. It was like at least 21 grams times 4. Do I really want 84? Oof, can't do math right now. 84 grams of sugar in my body, all in one go?
For reference, 80 grams of sugar is more than 16 of those big sugar cubes. In fact, it's way over the 30-gram limit that countries in Europe recommend for their people. And let's get one thing straight. Other fast food chains are adding even more sugar to their products.
Let's see how much sugar is in a frozen pumpkin swirl. 181 grams of sugar.
What? Oh,
So that's
no.
either 34 teaspoons or 51.5 cubes of sugar in this drink.
And let me remind you what
Wow.
RFK Jr. thinks about sugar.
Where sugar is like crack, it's poison, and it feeds tumors, it destroys your brain. It destroys all of your organs.
So I'm just hoping that he thinks about our children who drink many of these sugary concoctions every single day. If you can't ban them, at least make sure such food items come with a warning. I want to know what you guys think about this new DARPA test. Also, what are your thoughts on all this insane insider trading? Let me know in the comments down below.
Yeah, let me know in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. So you guys want me to keep bringing this content? Or let me know if you want me to keep bringing this content to you or not. But I think this is stuff that we really should know about, and we're not going to hear about it on any kind of media. So this guy actually brings a lot of stuff to the table that you wouldn't hear about on any other channel. So that'll do it. See you in the next video. All right, bye guys.